Okay, so let me turn off my monitor so we don't have some crazy lights going on, because I know I got a lot of lights going on here. So this is the Fuji TX1. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tell you why I love it, what I love about it, why I got it, and why I think you should get it. And then I'll show you some sample images. And then at the end, if you're really interested and you stuck around, then I'll get into some of this tech stuff. But a lot of people don't stick around long enough on these videos to really get to the best part, which is me telling you what I think about stuff, or the appreciation of it all. And I think that's more important for me. Okay, so let's just jump into it before I lose you guys again. So here we go. It's the Fuji TX1. Let's take rid of this, and I'll get into that a little later. Here you go. So, released in 1998. It's a panoramic. It's a 35mm film camera that can shoot panoramic, 65 by 24 aspect ratio. If I am not mistaken, let's look. Yes, 65 by 24 aspect ratio. So what does that mean? It shoots the height of 35mm film, but the width of medium format. So it's very cinematic. It's kind of like a widescreen movie. I love cinematography. I love watching movies. I appreciate the movies for the composition, the ways that the whole production, producer, everybody, how they can move you and transition from scene to scene. I enjoy all of it. However, it's too late for me to venture into cinematography or videography, so I will appreciate from afar. And as a photographer, which is this is my medium, I say this camera can bring me as close to that as I can get because of the way that it captures images, right? Now we're talking about one frame as opposed to 24 frames, right? But that's it. So that's why I love it. That's why I have it. I enjoy shooting it so much. It is totally different, and you may have seen me take this level off, and that's just because when you're looking at panoramic images, it's very easy to come off keel, right? And then you don't really want to crop these film pictures because then you lose that aspect ratio. So that's why this thing was on there. But I love it. I think it's amazing. It's way different. It's a lot of fun because you really can truly make some images really, really look cinematic, like almost a snapshot of a movie. And going out and shooting and thinking of those terms is a lot of fun. And when it misses, it misses, but when it hits, it really hits. I'll show you some images. The images I'll show you are more like architect or like fine artsy. I don't have many of these cinematic moments, and mostly because I'm just haven't committed 100% to it, mainly because it's film, and I'm like, oh man, it's not the right shot. So, but I have a lot of film that I still need to send off, and hopefully in those developments and those roles, I'll have something really cool, and I'll come back and do another video and hopefully show you guys some more of that stuff. But that's why I love it. That's why I like it. If you're into cinematography, if you really enjoy watching movies and you love that aspect ratio, then I would sell you to go and get it. Anyone who has one, either this or the Hasselblad X-Pan, which I'll talk about later when we talk about specs and stuff. People, they say they love the camera. They say it's their best camera. I don't know. I'm a Leica shooter. I love all my cameras, but this is definitely something different. And if you're looking for something different to spark a little bit of energy and you have some cash flow sitting on the side, I would say get your hands on one of these, try it out. You will not regret it. Okay, so let's just kick into some images and see, you can see what I'm talking about. I will show you this now since we're going to jump into images. That is 2x5 that was shot on this camera, and that's what you can do portrait mode. So there you go. There's more back there, but we'll get into that right now. So kick back, enjoy, watch these pics, a little slideshow. I won't do too many so that I don't lose you guys, and then we can get into more of the tech spec stuff. So kick back, enjoy. I hope you like it. All right, here you go. I had a fixed aspect ratio, believe it or not, just so I could fit in the slideshow. there you go. One thing to keep in mind if you look at these is that you really have to pay attention to the edges just because there's so much more in the frame. But you can see it's a lot of fun to use, and I think you guys would enjoy it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the tech spec stuff, right? So this camera can be purchased with 3 different lenses. The 45, which is what I have, the 90, and the 35. However, be warned that the 35mm lens for this camera can cost you just as much as the camera can. So it's a lot of money. They're very rare. They're hard to find. On eBay, almost anything you can find, but they are hard to find, and if you find one, you're going to pay for it. I alluded to it earlier. The Hasselblad Expanded is the same identical camera. Fuji collaborated with Hasselblad to make the X-Pan, and that was for the European market. Fuji then made the TX1 for the Asian market. So they're exactly the same camera mechanics-wise. The Hasselblad is black, and the Fuji TX1 is titanium. So there you go. One other thing to note, because of the panoramic aspect ratio, you get a lot of vignetting. Fuji did make a filter that you could put on it. I don't have it. They're also something hard to find and costs a pretty penny. But if you have the filter, it can get rid of some of that vignetting. I like the vignetting. I don't mind it. So, and it's very, very minimal. You'll see. So nothing really to worry about too much, but just so you know. Now, at the beginning, you may have seen me take this off. It's a level. I have 2. I have this one on right now. I can't find the other one. The reason I have the level is because, and I may have said this already, but when you're taking images in a panoramic view, and if they are slightly off kiltered and you try to readjust it, you're going to lose some of the image, and therefore, I mean, it's kind of like you're losing the whole aspect ratio, right? So I got a level. I do the best I can. I'm not going to sit there and like play with the bubble, but it just gives me a good idea of whether I'm truly off or right in the ballpark. So try to get those images as level as you can when using this camera. What else can I tell you about? When you put a roll in, because you're doing panoramic, you're essentially using 2 frames S to 1 on a roll of 35mm. So when you put a roll of film in there, you're going to see that you only have, I think, if I remember correctly, 21 frames. Depends on how many frames are in the roll, but typically about 20 shots. Another thing to keep in mind is that this camera, when you put the film in and you turn it on, it forwards the whole roll. It pulls it all out. It spools it all, and the counter goes to whatever, 21, and then it starts counting back as it puts the film back in the reel. So there's no rewinding. Basically, when you shoot, it's automatically rewinding, I guess. So at the end, when you're done, you pop it up, you take the film out, and you're done. So that's kind of cool. Unusual, but cool. And because of that, you can actually stop shooting, right? And pick it back up later, if that makes any sense. When you're going to pick one of these up, if you turn it on and you hold the AEB button, it'll tell you how many rolls have been shot through the camera. Mine's 130, which is actually a very small count. I got it with, I think, right at 100 or right under 100. So I put about 30 rolls in it. What else could you know? It has DX coding. So, you know, if you're using modern film, you can just leave it there and it'll read the film speed. You can always set it up front over here, and then you have exposure compensation on this as well. And I think that's it. Oh, another thing why I like about it, and mainly because I shoot Leicas, is that it's a rangefinder camera. So if you haven't noticed already, and maybe you picked up on that, but it's a rangefinder camera, and just like all the Leica cameras, the aperture ring is on the lens, as well as the focal distance is on the lens. So that's really cool. So I think that's another reason why I really like it. other than it being a little wider and maybe a little chunkier. Transitioning from shooting my Leica cameras to the TX1 is pretty much seamless, right? Focusing patch, I already know how to do all that. So there you go. That is some of the text on it. I'm sure there's more out there, and if you watch some other videos and stuff, then you'll find some other stuff. But that's the gist of it. So there you go. Why I have the camera. I love cinematography. I love the aspect ratio. The images are way cool to work with. And hopefully you've liked some of the images you saw. And hopefully I told you enough about the camera so that you get a good understanding of what you're about to jump into. Hope you liked the video. Let me know if I should do more on film stuff. I have two other film cameras. One is the Pentax 6.7, which there've been many reviews on and talks about. But however, I do have another camera that's a little crazy. But there you go for today. Thanks for sticking around. Let me know if they'll, starting with why I have it and then jumping into, and then ending the video with the text is a better format. All right, hope you enjoy it. Take it easy. Bye.